I'm Lisa Scottolini, and I'd like to talk to you about Eternal, which is my new book. And I am so excited about it because I've never done anything like this before, and I've wanted to do it since college. Let me tell you what it's about. There was a very little known event that was tragic and horrifying, but it happened during World War II. And it took place today, 75 years ago, in Rome, which is where we're filming this, because I'm here doing research for Eternal. And the novel is historical fiction, so that's the historical part of it. But the fiction is the kind of thing that I've been writing about for years: family, love, justice. It's about three young people, a girl and two boys. It's a love triangle. She's kind of in love with them both. They're in love with her. Who will she choose? And it's set against the backdrop of World War II and this horrifying, but really very little known event. It's never been written about in popular fiction. I couldn't be more excited to research it here, to go home and finally write about it all this time. I know you'll love it. There'll be book club questions on the website all about it. And I think it'll just be a book you can't forget. Welcome. I am so happy you're here to the first inaugural Virgin meeting on the video series Behind the Book for Eternal. I happen to have an advanced copy. I got one, but over time we're going to be giving some of these away too. But thank you so much for being here. It just means so much to me. And I got to tell you, I've missed you guys. I mean, this is just a really hard time we're going through. So as a country and as a world, so we'll just be here for each other, because that's one of the amazing things that books do. They keep us together in our hearts. So let me explain briefly what this is going to be about, because I won't keep you too long. I just want to tell you what I've been up to, why we're here, and what's to come. So what I've been up to, you probably have noticed I didn't have a book out last April, which was the first time in probably 10 or 15 years. I haven't written Rosado and Associates for a while. Don't worry, they're coming back, but we'll talk about that too. I still write the weekly humor column, which, as you know, if you follow me on Facebook, and thank you for that, is there every Sunday morning at 9 o'clock to make you laugh. I'm going to just be a little nice, warm, fun place for you, so we can be counter-programming to all the other tough stuff in the world. And but what I have been doing, and why I haven't been on social media as much or publishing as much, is that I have been completely immersed in writing Eternal. I have to get it because it's my security blanket. I love this book so much. I have been researching. I have been writing. I have been reading everything you can on the period, because this is my historical fiction debut. I have written 30 novels, and I try to really do a great job in each one. I kind of think I know a little bit about writing a novel, but I've never written historical fiction. And boy, there is a lot to it. So I really have just immersed myself. I've researched, I've read everything. I've gone to Italy. I've mapped out everything that these characters would do, where they would live. And then I had to consult historians too, try to get all my research in order for what would happen during that time period, which is 1930s Rome. As you saw, I mean, that video was filmed right in the heart of it. And what I did was, to research the book, I filmed a lot of videos. Now, part of the reason I did it was so I could remember when I went back home and really fleshed out all those details, because you have to have them right. And they add so much to the novel, I think. But really, the truth is, this is a novel that, unlike any other one I've written, it spans like 20 years. As you know, if you've read me before, like a Rosado book, it will take like 4 days in the life of the characters, or the thrillers sometimes happen in 1 day. And so this is the first time I've really expanded the time. And there's so much in this book, because it's kind of layered. And there's so much about Italy that I didn't know and I learned, and about Rome I didn't know I learned. Like, let's talk about the food, which is awesome, and the music, and the art, and the architecture. And there's so much history there, and so much is relevant. I mean, it's the history of Western civilization in one city. And so there's so much in this book, a lot of details and kind of insider details that I put in the book, but I wanted to try to give you the sneak peek and also set the book in context. Use this video series to explain to you and give you the kind of little side view, because not everything can make it into the book. It's a normal size book, even though it's got all this layers to it. So I kind of wanted to make this series of videos. Each week on Tuesday, 7:30, I'm gonna blow out my hair, I'm gonna try to look nice, and just sort of throw some light on one discrete aspect of the book. So that even though you can't read it now, you can sort of know about it and learn about it. I think this will be fun and entertaining, and that's my goal. Like I say, every Tuesday night, there'll be 20 of them. Now, we'll see what, as since we know that I never know what I'm going to say before I say it, I think about these insider points. It's stuff like, where did the character live and what did her actual house look like? And there'll be a video. Most of these videos that I'm going to show on Tuesday night, and then I'll come on afterwards, are taken in Rome. Sometimes it's just my secret inspiration behind it. And sometimes it's little side stories. Like the time, for example. I tell the story because I see so many names here that I know who have been to, oh, you look great, thank you, Miss Connie, who have been to our book club party. And so you know Laura Leonard, my bestie. And she went with me on our big Rome trip to do all this research. And we had such a great time, but we were researching every nook and cranny of Rome and trying to figure out what we could. And it was weird one time because I noticed that there was a plant, and I made the point, because this is something with historical fiction, you want it to be really true, and you want it to be true to the period, but for me, also the time of year. So I actually went on the research trip in October, November, like now, because that's when the most critical stuff happens in the book, and very dramatic stuff towards the end, based on this really true life historical event, which we'll talk about more in future videos. But when I was there, I noticed this plant, and I wanted to put this plant in the book, and I couldn't figure out what the name of was the plant. Now, you know that I'm a gardener. I'm actually a really stinky gardener. If you read my Sunday stories, you know that. So I was like, what is this plant? And at night, I'm looking in the hotel on the computer. I'm trying to figure out, what is this plant? What is this plant? I can't figure it out. So we're walking around Rome one day, and we're doing our research to the catacombs, which are also in this book. And we see a sign, me and Laura, and the sign says Botanico. Oh, by the way, I did all this research. I didn't speak any Italian. I understand a fair amount because, after all, I was raised with Mother Mary, and my mother spoke Italian, and to my father at home a lot, and usually it was curse words, but you get the gist. Anyway, we passed this sign which says Botanico, and I'm thinking, I'm no dummy. Like, Botanico has something to do with plants, and maybe inside this building, they'll know something about what this plant is, because I have a picture of it on my phone. So we sneak in, actually, which we trespass. This is the time that Laura and I trespassed in Rome. And a lot of Rome, if you've never been there, because you're gonna feel like you're there in this book, and you will definitely when you see it in these videos. But, like, a lot of times there's like a facade, and it might have graffiti or not be that nice. You can't even tell what's behind it, really. But then there's a big iron door, and if you sneak past the big iron door, we snuck past this big iron door, and there was like a wonderland. It was like the Garden of Eden. I'm not even kidding. It was beautiful. I mean, there were these gorgeous, the pines they have, umbrella pines, and mounds of wisteria and jasmine, and it smelled amazing. And everywhere you looked, there were like these beautiful little pathways, and it was like, what? It was like a little paradise, and there's no one around, but I'm like, still want to know what the name of this plant is, and all of these plants that are all around me have signs, but I can't read them because they're Italian, and I'm like, what do I do? So basically, we go into one of the buildings, which has an open door, which was a big mistake. Because if you're, what are you going to do? You're going to walk in. I got to find out stuff. I want to get it right for you guys. So we go in the place. It turns out it's like some classroom. And there's labs. And there's guys in lab coats teaching. And we just walk. I kind of walk in and go, scusi. Are you impressed yet? And I say, I hold up my phone. And I say, what plant is this? And he says, you go now. And I go, not yet until you tell me what plant is this. And he tells me, I'm not going to tell you. And then they call security, but I got the name of the plant. I put it in the book, all to make it good, because I write historical fiction now. That's what I'm talking about. So you get the idea. This is the kind of, I dropped the book. This is the kind of stuff I want to tell you that's the behind the scenes stuff that really gives it context.